My dear people of Southern Cameroons, brave warriors of our liberation movement, accept revolutionary greetings from me, Comrade John Ba Akuro, today. I'm delighted to be with each and every one of us this very early morning of Sunday, January 9, 2022. My people, when you see me out and up at this hour, this very early morning, you should understand that there is so much at stake. Without much ado, I want to say this. Finally, the Africa Cup of Nations is being hosted by La République du Cameroon beginning today. Of course, there is already so much, so much about this particular AFCON that has sent a lot of people, you know, laughing out their lungs. Because as expected, La République du Cameroun did not fail to do exactly what the world could have expected from them. That is, rub the AFCON in the mud. Very interesting though. Now listen, the first and most spectacular thing about this particular AFCON is that for the first time in a very long while, only the host president, only the host president, and some very insignificant fellow from some country that a lot of us will be hearing for the first time, which is the Union of some Comoros Islands. That is the country whose president will be present with Mr. Paul Biya at the Olembe Stadium, at the Olembe Football Stadium, which is also supposed to be called the Paul Biya Stadium, to witness the opening encounter of the AFCON 2021 being played in 2022. Listen, this is a phenomenon. I should say it's phenomenal because we have seen opening ceremonies of the Africa Cup of Nations elsewhere. Come on. You have a lot of heads of state present, a lot of other international dignitaries present, because it is a continental feast. That's what they call it, a feast, a football fiesta. But in the case of Cameroon, hell no. Listen, all the African heads of state that La République du Cameroun approached boycotted Mr. Paul Biya. Quite amazing. I bet you it's interesting. All. They contacted Denis Sassou Nguesso of Congo, next door, Semak. He boycotted. They contacted Obiangema Mbazogo, next door, boycotted. They contacted the president of Gabon, that one, who should even be excited that they're inviting him somewhere because of, the way we all know he is today, boycotted. They contacted even the young man, the late Idris Deby Itno's son in Chad, who should have been looking for an opportunity like this one to shine, to get into the mainstream, international media audience and all whatnot, at least for a different reason, for an interesting reason this time, to build his notoriety. Hell no, he too boycotted. And then they tried some of the other ones that are people that you say these are elegant heads of state, big ones who will come. They went all the way to Cote d'Ivoire. Alassane Dramane Ouattara said, They put the package, sent a very powerful delegation to Accra. Nana Akufo-Addo said, They said this is not happening. And so, La République du Cameroun could not understand what was happening. They decided to try their ally, Muhammadu Buhari, next door Nigeria. And they promised him that, no, don't bother. They will not sing, Oya Buhari, will they beg you? No. Just come. Even with that, Muhammadu Buhari boycotted. So it has come to pass that Paul Biya and Paul Biya alone, in the company of someone that most Cameroonians and most people from around Africa and perhaps the rest of the world will be discovering perhaps for the first time, as president of a union of some Comoros Islands, dotted there, put together and all whatnot. From my understanding, when I look at the map, that country is not even, it doesn't have the surface area of, is it Batibo subdivision or Batibo local government area? I'm not talking about the entire Momo County. That is how I say that AFCON is beginning really well. But that is not all. There is another very interesting piece. We all recall that during the COCAN, the previous tournament that La République du Cameroun hosted in readiness, that's in preparations for the AFCON, there was a serious situation where the Cameroonian side came out with fake COVID-19 tests for the best players of the Congolese squad and claimed that they were all COVID positive just to give themselves the advantage. And it created a lot of waves. It was so scandalous because at the end of the day, it was discovered that those results were fake. My people, today, as we speak, a few hours away from the opening encounter that is expected to pit the Lions of La République du Cameroun against the Stallions of Burkina Faso, the scandal that is there has reached very vexing proportions. Just take a look at this. Burkina Faso's Minister of Sports, Mathias Tankwano, threatens their squad will boycott the opening AFCON 2021 match against host Cameroon. And what is the reason? Let's go find out what the reason is. I spoke to a lot of people in Yaoundé who explained to me that earlier in the day, yesterday, Saturday, a team of medical doctors showed up at the hotel of the Burkinabe football squad. And they said they had arrived to conduct rapid COVID tests on the entire delegation. But while they were there, the Burkinabe officials, team officials, they smelled a dead rat. And so they decided to contact CAF to know if they were aware that a team of medical experts were coming to the hotel to conduct such tests. Curiously enough, CAF did not recognize that team. The government of Cameroon itself claimed, the Ministry of Public Health claimed not to recognize that team of doctors. Who were they then? Who were able, despite the serious or the tight security around all the squads, but they were able to break their lines quietly and find themselves directly in the suite of these players and the officials, face to face, until if these players were not smart enough, these people would have started conducting tests on them. How did they get there? Now, finally, who are they? Because at the end of the day, despite CAF indicating that they didn't know anyone in that group of medical doctors, despite the Cameroon Ministry of Public Health claiming they did not know them, they did not recognize them, this representing them for henceforth a security breach could have called for more attention. But I know these guys were allowed to walk away. And until this minute, nobody has revealed their identities. No one knows from which medical cabinet they came from. That is the AFCON in La République du Cameroun. The AFCON à la Camerounaise. But sorry, the plight of the Burkinabe team did not end there. Much later in the day, a new team of medics arrived. This time, they were recognized by CAF and recognized by the Cameroon Ministry of Public Health. When they arrived, they came this time, and when they finished what they were doing, they had results. They had news for the Burkinabe team. And what is the news? 5 players, that is, people who find themselves in the first 11 on the football field against La République du Cameroun later today, were declared COVID positive. Less than 24 hours to the opening match. That is when they are tested. This is strange. Normally, every country makes sure you test at the port of entry. Were these people within Cameroon for 3 weeks or so before it happened? And look at this. This particular COVID had eyes. It was able to identify and select among the players only the 5 key players. These 5 players are the best players, the carriers of the Burkinabe squad. These are the ones who are declared COVID positive, along with the coach, the head coach of the team. Consequence, they will not be fielded. The coach will not be on the field of play in the opening encounter, and the 5 best players of the Stallions of Burkina Faso will not be playing. So what does that guarantee for La République du Cameroun? Immediate victory? Your guess is as good as mine. Don't forget that La République du Cameroun won consecutively the world title for corruption. A title, generally offered by Transparency International. La République du Cameroun won it consecutively 3 times. No, was it consecutively 2 times and then another 1 time? 3 times. The world champions of corruption. So is anybody surprised that we are seeing and hearing what we are hearing out of Yaoundé regarding this AFCON? Of course, we have all seen images coming from Victoria in southern Cameroon. Do the images indicate the kind of fiesta, the kind of popular feast you expect with the hosting of an AFCON? Oh my goodness. This AFCON is going to be so sweet. It's beginning so well. I guess we should all be congratulating La République du Cameroun for giving the entire world an opportunity to discover firsthand who they are. To discover firsthand what Cameroon is. To understand for themselves what the people of the southern Cameroons have been complaining about and what we have been through for 60 years. This is a golden opportunity, I bet you. And so, the Burkinabe squad, at this point that we are talking, are threatening that they will not play the opening encounter because they smell a dead rat. And as if what happened was not enough, very quickly, without even being accused, the Cameroon Minister of Public Health, Malachi Manauda, skips up and says they don't even know. They are not connected. They have no business with the medical cabinet that conducted the tests. We declared the 5 key players of the Burkinabe team COVID positive, alongside with their head coach. Amazing. I mean, they were not accused. Nobody mentioned anything that, oh, it's a Cameroon cabinet. No. But they begin excusing themselves. Listen, this is so interesting. Very interesting, my people. Well, let's move on. I'd like us to take a look at this. This picture you find on the left, for me it's on the left, and for you watching at home, perhaps it will be on the right. Look at this. These are messages to sensitize the numerous guests that are expected in La République du Cameroun during this AFCON against COVID-19. Of course, a reminder about the COVID-19 prevention protocols, which is a very good thing because it's normally what should be done. But now look at this. Please satanize your hands here. What did they intend to say? Did they want to say sanitize? Or I'm mistaken? But say, please satanize your hands here. This is in a bilingual country. This is in that country where they are telling us we really have to stay. As if we don't have people who can write these things in English. But because this will be a contract representing millions of CFA or even hundreds of millions of CFA, they need to get one of them who will do what Issa Chiroma said. Look at this message here at the side. I really want to thank Comrade who took the time off to prepare this flyer specifically for me. It says, in a few more years, by the time my children and grandchildren come back from America, there will be no Anglophone or Francophone in Cameroon. That was Issa Chiroma Bakari. At that time, he was Minister of Communication. This is a kind of bilingualism. This is a kind of English that will be prevalent in that Issa Chiroma Bakari's Cameroon. I'm really enthused. I'm really excited that this is happening before the cameras of some of the most influential media houses in the world. Because they should be able to see for themselves what the people of the southern Cameroons have been talking about. That is the bilingualism. Please satanize your hands here. There is no exaggeration. They are all over the place. They're out there. Go out there if you are in Yaoundé, in Douala, in Victoria, in Bafoussam, in Garoua, where a lot of these guys are expected. Check for yourself. And you will see that. Then you will confirm what I'm talking about here. We have seen worse. Now I'd like us to listen to this message. I'm not going to translate this message. Oh, before we get to that message, Paul Biya, the president of La République du Cameroun, of course, will be at the Olembe football stadium today, later on in the day, to give the kickoff for the Africa Cup of Nations. At least the country waited 40 years to host again. So it's a glad thing. There is excitement in the air. And so Mr. Paul Biya will come out of his reserve. Finally, Cameroonians and the rest of the world may see Paul Biya in body shape and whatever to evaluate who he is finally today because of football. So, Mr. Paul Biya will be on the field of play. But he is unlikely to drive to the field of play. Why? Because he's always afraid even of his shadow. And that is why, interestingly, not only would all the roads in Yaoundé be barricaded, of course as usual, but the innovation this time around is that even the Yaoundé-Simalène International Airport is going to be closed down to air traffic all day today. If you had a flight and you were expected to land in Yaoundé today, Sunday, January 9, 2022, sorry, you'll be diverted to Douala. And why? Because the opening match of the Africa Cup of Nations will take place today in Yaoundé, and Paul Biya is going to be on the field of play. So the airspace is shut down. I mean, airspace is shut down. Vraiment, le Cameroun de grandes ambitions. And even with all that, Paul Biya will not go to the field by land. This is how he will find himself. so this copter is touching down in preparation on how Mr. Paul Biya is going to touch down, on how he's going to be taken from that place where he will land and then directed into the field of play, where we're expecting that he will give the kickoff. He's not only going to preside, we're expecting him to go down into the field of play, right into the arena itself. Perhaps he'll even play with the ball somehow, dribble around a bit to show that I'm strong, I'm solid, I'm ready for 2025. Don't forget that Mr. Gregor Owona and some people in the Lekie started announcing Mr. Paul Biya's candidature for the 2025 presidential election. Don't ask me how old he will be then. That's none of my business. But that is the news. And so he's not just going to kick the ball flatly. Seemingly is going to be a kind of show. And so while all that show is taking place, the airspace will be closed. Nsimalene International Airport shut down to air traffic. And like I said earlier, if you had a flight and you were expected to fly into Yaoundé, sorry, not this Sunday. You will be diverted to Douala. This is really amazing and very interesting. How beautiful and colorful this particular AFCON is going to look like. And so, my people, I just wanted us to have that little gist about this AFCON, and there's so much more to it. And of course, I'll be coming back to it, once in a while for us to have an interesting conversation of what is happening there with respect to this continental football feast, if really a feast it's going to be. And so, I like us to take note of this statement. A lot of the things that are happening around this AFCON thus far, plus some of the messages that I understand have already been dished out in Victoria thus far. And then the news that Southern Cameroonians, aka Ambazonians, or aka Ambazonians, have brought in an Egyptian hired who will land in Nigeria, coming through Yaoundé. I don't know how he lands in Nigeria, then suddenly comes in through Yaoundé. Suddenly they say he'll come in through Yaoundé. The next minute they say it's through Garoua. Another minute they say through Bafoussam. The next minute they say through Douala. But they are avoiding to say through Victoria. And that Southern Cameroonians have hired him to come at the fanfare to the tournament. And so they themselves are the ones announcing this. At the time they are expecting a lot of guests and to come and feel free and relax. They are the ones announcing that Southern Cameroonians have invited this great Egyptian guy to come and, color the event, to come and animate, to come and bring some good music at the event. Oh, really? That's interesting. That's why I'm sharing this. That sometimes the best thing to do is say nothing at all and let God fight your battle for you. When I finish saying that, I'll also say amen. Like the person said amen. So sometimes the best thing to do is say nothing at all and let God fight your battle for you. So all said and done, it promises therefore, my people, to be a wonderful AFCON. And that is why we have this message coming from these gentlemen who are not speaking for themselves. They are speaking for the Republic du Cameroon. I'd like us to listen to this message from them and never ever forget it. Listen to the message from them and never ever forget it. If you don't have this video, because it's circulating on social media, if you don't have it, after watching it on this show, seek and make sure you get it. Archive it. Because it is very important. What they are saying, the message they are transmitting to us in this video is very important. Our children, our children's children, and generations of Southern Cameroonians to come need to listen to this important message. And this message should be able to touch your heart, should be able to help us understand what is happening. And I think this message should be able to let the world know exactly what we are talking about. It's a very important message. Just listen.
Ça a commencé, on va chercher la Mozambique. La Mauritanie. Oh, les petits Zambas, on va dire que la canne va se passer ici à Boya. C'est nous qu'on va travailler avec vous. C'est nous qu'on connaît. Ici, c'est nous qu'on connaît. On ne fait pas la guerre au gouvernement. On ne fait pas la guerre au gouvernement. Le gouvernement, c'est nous. Vous allez accepter l'unité là-haut, la by force. Direction Douala. Nassau. Direction Douala. On va chercher la Mozambique.
Did you hear that? Vous allez accepter l'unité là, que vous voulez ou pas, na by force. Oh my goodness, I like that. That's a beautiful message for all of those who until this moment thought or still think that we have an option in this liberation movement other than victory. Listen, I have said here over and over, and I'm repeating it today, we have only one option in this liberation movement, and that is freedom. I guess, having listened to this beautiful message from the representatives of Mr. Paul Biya in Boya, you will no longer say you don't know what they intend. You will no longer say they don't know that we are not willing. You will no longer say they don't know that we don't want them. You will no longer say they don't know that we are tired of living the way we are living. You will no longer say you don't know. No. Don't tell me again ever that you don't know. Now you know. Now you heard it from the horse's own mouth. After Paul Biya said it himself in France, in Paris, before Mr. Mo Ibrahim, today you have heard it from his representatives again. How else do you want to be told this message? It's neat and it's clear, yet history does not lie. It's a fact. Take a look at this image. You see this? This is Bafia. This pillar stone is standing there. Don't call it pillar stone. This is it? I don't know, a monument standing there in Bafia. Bafia, Place de l'Indépendance, 1er janvier 1960. Bafia, Place de l'Indépendance, 1er janvier 1960. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you this. You don't need it. I brought this image specifically after that message so that you understand why they are telling you it's by force. Whether you like it or not. Yet, champagne was floating. Glasses were raised. Champagne glasses were raised to the independence of the Southern Cameroons in 1961. This was on April 21, 1961. Glasses were raised to the independence of the Southern Cameroons. That is that independence that was voted for by the UN General Assembly on April 21, 1961. You don't also have this picture? Look for it. It's on social media. Keep it along with the picture that preceded it and along with that video, that message. No one at all should ever deceive any one of us to settle for less than we deserve. Because anytime you settle for less than you deserve, you will end up with less than you settled for. I've said this over and over and over and over. Now, my people, this is the key message I'm bringing again today. The opportunity we have been waiting for and that I've been talking about over and over is very close. I mean, very, very close. And we cannot take advantage of that opportunity if we have not yielded to the message of synergy, to the call of synergy that keeps ringing in our ears from every other international stakeholder that happens to talk to us. If we miss this opportunity, we have no one else to blame but ourselves. And I think if we're doubting whether anyone really understands among us the importance of this synergy, then the voices and our people on ground zero showed us what we saw in Kumbo. We saw it in Kumbo. They sat together. They said all those group names and all whatnot from this moment disappear. Henceforth is the flag that we're looking at. The flag. That is also the meaning of patriotism. Recognizing when to stop group politics and focus on healing and then standing for what is important for the collective good of everyone. That is what I mean by looking at the flag. That's what I mean by focusing on the flag. So, my people, it is important for us in the diaspora to talk the talk of synergy and walk the walk of synergy. It is important for us in the diaspora to understand that it is time to stop talking and then to begin acting. It is time for us to stop quarreling and then to begin synergizing. It is time for us to stop fighting each other and then to begin healing, to begin talking to ourselves, to begin recognizing our faults and making a conscious effort and decision not to go back to some of those things that defined us poorly. This at least is a message that I pick from the late Desmond Tutu, who unfortunately went without seeing us shout free, free, free at last. We are free, as it happened in his native South Africa. Because he says, in our fragile and crowded world, we can survive only together. We can be truly free, ultimately, only together. We can be human, only together. This is Desmond Tutu saying it. And this message is as if he's speaking it directly to us, the people of the Southern Cameroons. I keep saying, opportunity is coming. Let us not only encourage what we saw in Kumbo, in Bui County, by words. Let us encourage it by our actions, by also doing like they did out here in the diaspora, and by providing them the necessary support to stay bonded together as they have decided to be. That is when, and only when, I will say we as a people have started recognizing that there comes a time when you stop and say there is no more point playing games. There is no more use fighting for power when we can't actually have that power right now. There is no point running after, little resources that are meant to help us acquire freedom. I begin by thinking that is what is suited for you right now. There is time for everything. Time to be delinquent, time to be gentle. Time to quarrel, time to make peace. Time to be divided, time to be bonded together. This is the time, absolutely, for us to bond together. And I'm convinced that we should be able to rise to the occasion. I urge all the elders among us to show proof that that African proverb that says, an old man cannot sit and be having fun, while the she-goat suffers together. To God be the glory and all the glory.